Are we alive now? Are we live?
Yes.
We're alive!
You're ruining the intro.
No, filling dead air. You're ruining the intro with your noise, dude.
Hmm?
Nothing.
Now my hands are
Oh,
getting all
yeah.
twitchy because that's a boss fight theme, and I want to start dodging the attacks already.
Hello,
Alrighty.
everyone. Welcome to the evening roast.
Yep. Welcome to the evening roast, and I
He's
just
too
woke
busy
up.
playing with something.
I'm making my little snack. It's a Reese Puffs treat. Alrighty. Today we have with us Mr. Joshua Plack.
Thank you,
We've
thank you,
been
thank you for having me on.
trying to get on for ages. Could never make it work. Oh my.
No, you did.
Yeah, I'm happy to have him. I loved how you say eudaimonia?
Any way you pronounce it works.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's an ancient word, so you can't really mispronounce it. Somebody probably said it that way.
Oh, that book was so good. It's one of my top crowdfunders.
Thank you.
Let's see what we got in the chat. We got Resvergum. He says, drinking a coffee at night because that's how I roll, son. Wait a minute. Chris Fisk. How you doing? And we got El Gargo with the eggplant. Alrighty. And why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is JP. I started Eudaimonia Comics with my first two books titled Eudaimonia. Really love the indie scene. Really love the freedom. I tell weird stories when and how I want, and put out high quality books.
You also did this How to Die as well, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't read this one yet. I've been apprehensive. At first, I was like, "Oh man, I shouldn't open it because it's got this fancy sticker that I've seen you put more in there."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, good."
How many copies did you get? Because I think my first campaign was late, so everybody from the first campaign got 2 copies.
Yeah, I got 2 because of that. At first, I was like, "Oh, okay." I got 2 because I used to always get 2 copies, and then you said I remember you said in the chat, no, it's because I sent everybody an extra copy. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, that was my first time being late, and I wasn't too happy about that. So.
Well, that's really nice of you to put out an extra since you were late and everything. That certainly wins goodwill with people. And now you're working on how you say it, Noirlum?
Yep, Noir plus Harlem is Noirlum.
Okay. Let me bring up the mailing list here. Boom. Noirlum, the long and short of it. Do you guys have a pitch for us?
Yeah, so the long and short of it is the first story. It's going to be 90 pages. It's going to be a full, detective mystery from start to finish. No loose ends at the end. It takes place in 1920s Harlem, which is, one of my favorite periods for history, art, philosophy, and literature. And I've just read so much from that era, and it just kind of seemed like a natural fit to try and make something that nobody's ever done before, because I haven't seen anything really like that. Harlem Nights kind of comes close to it, but yes, I'm just looking for, telling a really compelling mystery. So the main character is a guy by the name of Coleman Carmichael, and he's just kind of like a grind. He's grinding things out. Like, he's a part-time teacher. He's a part-time tutor. He's kind of a hustler and a grinder. But what he is more than anything is he's a consummate learner. He's always trying to learn something new. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is one night there's a kind of mysterious death right in his own apartment building in Harlem. and the cops show up, and they kind of think that they have it all figured out, that they don't, they know what's up. And Coleman's like, hey, you need to take a deeper look because there's more to this than you think. And that kind of gets the ball rolling because one of the detectives is like, he's kind of like that young, naive kind of detective. And he's a guy by the name of Detective James Baldwin. And he kind of sees Coleman as being somebody who's like thinking a little bit faster than everybody else around him. And so that kind of curiosity leads them to kind of team up. And they start piecing together these different murders around like the Harlem Hudson River area. And they set off in search of the Hudson River killer. And that's what the book is all about.
Mr. Fisk is saying, will it have a Max Payne style narration?
There will definitely be like some black and white flashbacks. I don't know about bullet time. I don't think there's any bullet time in it.
Super gritty narration. We got McGee. Hey, McGee. Hope you're doing well. I seen this cool little Zippo. I remember when I seen the mailing list, I was like, that is really cool. I haven't seen anybody try to do Zippos.
Yeah, I really looked into like how much, what it takes to kind of get that done on like a bigger scale, and it's pretty reasonable. So if you're thinking about it, jump on the mailing list, because when you get that book, if you're on the mailing list, you're going to get your own nice little brass colored detectives Zippo with the New Orleans logo on it. And it's like, how you go to the post office and they say, is anything liquid, fragile, or potentially hazardous?
Mm-hmm.
A New Orleans lighter, a Zippo lighter is basically just, the case and the wick. So you are going to have to go out and get your own lighter fluid. I do apologize, but it is the law.
Yeah. I feel like he's not keeping promises. There we go.
Yeah, I was on another stream with somebody who was like, who saw that and was like, is that a dig? And was like, no, I mean, it's a dig, but it's a dig at myself because I don't tolerate lateness. Mm-hmm. So that's a visual representation of me punching myself to get my book out on time.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to keep to a schedule. You want to do all that. That way it's good for business overall, too, to be like that.
Yeah, so the book is going to be entirely in color. I know there's some black and white art in there, but I only have that there because I want to say about 60% of the line art done, but the coloring is like still in the early stages. But yeah, it is going to be full color, like that one image of the party and the jazz band above.
Right there. Let's see. El Gargo 28008. I don't know, El Gargo. I don't know what you're putting in the chat. Jay Cage is here. He says, is Pale Rider here? No, I guess I'll have to suffice. Oh no, there's only one of you. Oh, I'm so upset. Yeah, Mr. Fisk says he likes to burn stuff. Now he can do it in style. That's good, I guess. Oh Lord.
I'm gonna have the cops knocking on my door asking about the Zippos, and
we found this at the crime scene.
Ah, damn it!
It's gonna start a noir. All these houses burnt down, and all we can find are these Zippos. Detective Clancy's on the case.
A few house burns down, and then they check the the prints on it, and they all find Jake.
Yeah.
I was framed, I tell you.
That guy, the creator of those books, is the world's biggest arsonist.
I'm going to be filling my campaign wearing rubber gloves.
Did I get the right one? Yeah, I did. There we go. Yeah, there's a full piece of the cover there.
Yeah, I've been working on putting together like the actual cover, like adding the logo and everything, and like I've been messing with it now for weeks. I cannot get it to look like just right, but I really want that New Orleans logo to look like an old light up sign. And I've been working on it forever. I can't get it to look right, so it's still in progress. I don't have it all done yet, but I'm working on it.
Are you going to offer like maybe a virgin cover? I know some people do that.
Yeah, I'll look into that, but I haven't. Yeah, I don't want to give an answer, but yeah, I might look into that. That does sound like a good idea.
I know people used to really like that Kane and White covers.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, write the number down. Boobs. Gosh dang it, Gargoyle, you got me. I didn't even realize it. Oh my. You've been doing, everybody, you've been doing stuff from all over, different genres and everything. You definitely putting out a wide variety of books. I haven't got, like I said, I haven't got to read this How to Die yet, but it seems very different from like Eudaimonia, and this, of course, seems very different as well.
Yeah, I just when a few years back when I was just looking into like getting short stories and poetry and things like that published. That's just kind of how I am. I'm consistently inconsistent. Like I'm always trying to do like different things and trying to dip my toes in as many different things I can. After this, I'm gonna start putting together. I don't have a title for it yet, but it's going to basically be. I'm a lover of the past. I love revisiting like old styles and old genres. So after this, I think I'm going to start working on. It's going to be like about 1880s, like the really early days of the Chicago gangster era, and it's basically going to be aging cowboys versus young gangsters.
Okay, you just got Chris all excited.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because the Midwest kind of creeps into the territory of the old West, and I just think there's a lot that can be done with that. But what I kind of want to do is I want to have it be like a little bit funny and like kind of a rough and tumble, group of tough old West cowboys, but like they're kind of getting on in years, and they would definitely have to be the heroes. And then so like the early Chicago gangsters would be the villains. And just like that kind of power struggle of like one generation versus the next.
Yeah, that would be actually pretty cool. The aging twilight years of the cowboy.
And I think that's one of the best thing about this indie comic scene. It's not just superheroes.
Chris says the New Harlem genre sounds like a gold rush of a frontier. I love new grounds like that.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be like it's definitely not going to be a one and done. I have some future mysteries kind of slowly plotting in my mind. For this one, I really just want to make sure that I get what I think makes a good mystery right. You know what I mean? Like, I've watched so many mystery TV shows and movies and read books that I think I'm finally starting to get a grasp on like just what makes the mystery part fall completely flat. Like when you have a mystery and you get to the end and the detective just has the solution, but he pulls it out from like information that you didn't have as an audience. So I spent a lot of time kind of crafting this mystery that kind of lays out these little breadcrumbs for the reader to kind of follow along. And hopefully when they get to the end, the solution is something that like they didn't think of before, but it makes sense, and it's satisfying when you get there and you see that the detective is able to put things in the right context, that it doesn't feel like unsatisfying, like you just had him pull something out of his ass that you didn't know about before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like. I feel like a good mystery should be like at the end when it's all revealed, have you go, oh, yeah, and then you kind of reflect on it and you see where all along that's really what happened. You can see all the evidence that led up to it.
Yeah, that's what really made like Sherlock, for example, really unsatisfying. Is that like he just pulls these answers out of nowhere, and you just have like, you know what I mean? If you weren't given that before, it feels just like a wet turd on a plate.
Yeah, because then you're just like, well, how was I supposed to say this was coming? Like, how was I supposed to figure it out?
Yeah. The other thing I'm really focusing on is I really want to get old New York right. So like when I would open up, like when I would look at like Ditko art, like Steve Ditko art, the amount of effort that went into getting the look of the cities right was like, that was the first thing I would look for when I would open it. You know what I mean? Like, so trying to make the city itself feel alive, feel like a character that's in the book is the other thing that I'm spending a lot of time on. I really want to get, I want the city to like feel alive, not just the people you're seeing on the page. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Fish says, yeah, Deus Ex Machina is a terrible writing trope. Seeing the evidence throughout the mystery makes readers feel smart at the conclusion. Love it.
Yeah, the other thing I'm really excited about is I have basically a secret perk with this, where what it's going to be is it's going to be it's not even a perk. It's going to be in the book no matter what. But what's going to happen is when the reader gets to the end of the book, there's going to be something there that interacts with the reader. And I don't mean like a choose your own adventure or like an alternate ending. I mean, there's going to be something there that's going to do to the reader what is happening on the page and kind of mirror that. And I know that sounds like really off the wall and strange, but I can't say anything more about it without giving it away. But it's just going to be a really important moment that kind of interacts with the reader itself.
Oh, okay. It's a mystery. Okay, let's see. I'm having a brain fart. I shouldn't have. I fell back to sleep after the alarm. Didn't wake up till 9 o'clock.
Okay. Well, I have a question. So you're in West Virginia, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I came out to the West Coast from just outside of Baltimore, Maryland, and one night there was this guy that used to come into the bar I worked at, and he was super annoying, and he was from West Virginia. And one night it was West Virginia versus Maryland in the NCAA basketball tournament, and we went to the bar together. We went to watch it, and West Virginia won. You know, whatever. But he starts playing Country Roads on his phone, like loud as hell. And so my question is this: if the country road leads to West Virginia, doesn't that mean the road itself is in Maryland?
I don't know.
Where is the country road?
Where's it going to?
Because it's taking you to West Virginia, so it can't be in West Virginia.
It's true. It has to take you to West Virginia.
It takes you back. It takes you home to where you belong.
Yeah. It's not even your road.
Get off my road. Good. Go back home. Get out of here.
Stop trespassing.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are super into that, like college, like football and basketball. Never understood it. I've never been a big fan. Never kept up with it.
If you go to the university, I got swept up in it. It was like a big part of the experience. So you're not a big Mountaineers fan?
No, I haven't kept up with it.
I hear you. I'm in Montreal, and I don't like hockey.
Wow, that sounds like blasphemy.
I know, right?
You gonna tell me you don't like poutine?
Oh, I like poutine. I like to play hockey, but I don't like to watch hockey.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Same thing with football. I always played football back then, younger, but I never enjoyed watching. Yeah.
Baseball is unbearable to watch on television.
Yeah. But it's fun to play with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, my friend Billy loves hockey. Loves to watch it and everything. Now, if they just do like compilations of the hockey people fighting each other, I might watch it. That'd probably be about it.
Dude, the last time I ever watched hockey was when the Canadian and the Nordiques were playing. You know, what became Colorado?
Yeah. Didn't Canada lose like half their teams?
No, not half their teams, but the entire Nordiques got sold to, the Canadians are still there. But like I say, I don't follow it.
Chris Fisk there has a good comment there. He says baseball is to sports what the Grateful Dead is to music. It requires chemical assistance to enjoy. That's right. Yeah, that's true.
It's true. You always drink beer and, you know.
Oh, we got Pops with us. Hey, Pops.
What's up?
Elgar says he lived on Calvert and Fayette, right on top of the block. And he says, thank the poutines for baseball.
And also basketball.
Now, when you say football, you mean actual football or that mislabeled thing?
No, when I say football, it's football, not soccer.
I believe he's referring to football.
Nobody cares about football.
Oh, dude, that's one of the sports I never enjoyed playing.
I played actual football, you know, with pigskin and everything.
I played football and rugby. And rugby was fucking violent, but it's fun.
I played it up until about the start of high school. And then I dropped out because I was like, man, this is like taking all my time. Like, you had to practice every single day, and it lasted for hours. I was like, do I even really still want to do this? I could be at home, you know, doing stuff. So then I never stopped.
I used to play poker professionally, and that airs on ESPN sometimes, I think.
Oh, wow, okay. Did you make a lot of money off of it?
So basically, back when internet poker was all the rage, I played professionally for like 2 years, and then I woke up one day, and my bankroll at this point was up to it was a little less than $50K. And I woke up one morning, and I was greeted to a letter from the U.S. Department of Justice saying this is illegal, and they all got shut down.
Oh wow! So
I took my money and I went back to school.
Well, at least you had a nice chunk of money saved up. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it just sucked because it was like I thought this was going to be like my calling, like what I was going to do, and I was damn good at it, and I just had the rug pulled out from under me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all in hindsight. I can't complain. I went back to school, fell in love with literature, started creating, and I'm doing good now. But at the time, that was like a punch in the stomach.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, just to all of a sudden just be like, well, too bad, your whole occupation's gone.
Yeah, I got fired by the federal government.
It's like, well, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Mr. Fisk says he was too fat of a kid to run around the field for soccer.
Me, you see, when I went back to university, when I went to get like my bachelor in 3D, I went in 12. Everything was good. Came out in 2016. When the big SJW, third feminist and everything. You're like, well, I'm not getting a job.
See, I was there and I went to University of Oregon, which is like West Coast, and I just graduated a couple years ago, and like it was bad, but at the same time, it's like I'm glad it was there, and I'm glad I was there for it because it sharpened my thinking. You know what I mean? Like if I was sitting in a room with people who all agreed with me, I wouldn't get anywhere. But being able to think my way around it. And so, like, right now, when you have people talking about, like, CRT and critical race theory, I studied that. I know it in and out.
I know what.
So it was like I had the blueprint. So I can talk about it from a position of, like, almost like authority because I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, in my 4 year was like the first year. Dude, top of class. It was freaking awesome. I was, doing concept art and all this shit. And on the third year, it switched from everything's too sexy.
Yeah,
everything's this dude. They turn on one of the animation teacher. That's a woman, right? Because she dared to tell people that because we were having an award night, it was a tie and high heel night. So she got berated on how sexist she was. And I took comic studies, and we had
speakers come in, like from the industry, and it was pretty funny. It was Rucka was there, Greg Rucka.
Yeah.
David Walker was there, and Rucka was the worst. That was like, it was like watching a man like slowly killing himself and talking about how happy he is to be killing himself.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that sucks.
Dude, I witnessed like Microsoft and not Microsoft, Ubisoft, Eidos, all the big, like they were all here in Montreal, and they all turned super like SJW and everything that you would apply. They would asking you if you were Caucasian or not. You're like, wow.
Oh, hey, Mo Biggs is here.
What's
hey,
up,
Mo.
Now here we are out in the fringes making our own.
Yep. Because fuck you. I remember when he goes, hey, the industry is small, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but one day you'll work for me.
Yeah.
Have a good day. One day you'll be working for me.
Mr. Fisk says he attended Playboy Magazine's #1 party school of '86, Plymouth State University. Well, I'm sure you must have got up to some antics there, sir. I did not attend college ever because I knew that I would not actually do it.
Me, it was the fact of being a single dad for so long, having a day job and trying to have my break into comics. I got to a point where I'm like, I need to open an extra door to produce. And like JP said, like you go in with an idea, but you come out with a knowledge and something, a learning that you might not have expected there. Like you have a growth, and I think it was totally worth it.
The story I always like to tell is I was part of a creative writing workshop at the university, and I got like a scholarship to go do it. And part of a big part of a workshop isn't just what you create, but it's also reading other creators and really dissecting the work and talking about what it is. And we had this, we were supposed to read a poem by a Black author, and I don't remember the author and I don't remember the poem, but when we were supposed to talk about it in class, because the first thing you do is you read it. You have to read a poem is like a living being thing, and you have to experience it by reading it aloud. And a couple students just kind of raised their hands and were like, we don't feel comfortable reading this because it's about racism. And the teacher was just like, deer in the headlights, was just like, okay, we won't read this then. And like nobody said anything. There was like 15 of us and 2 people that were like telling us we shouldn't read this because we're a bunch of white crackers in Oregon. And the teacher just folded immediately. It was just like, okay, yeah, no, that sounds good. You feel uncomfortable by this? And I remember like I sent her an email after class. I was like, are you going to sit there and tell me that a couple white people are saying that they don't feel comfortable reading about racism? And so we should silence the author basically and silence the thing that they wrote because you don't feel comfortable hearing it aloud. Like, don't you hear how insane that sounds?
Do you remember not too long, like a few years back, not too long ago, but a few years back, when they had a bunch of those freaking idiots saying that the Three Musketeer was a racist and this and that, written by a racist white man.
No, I missed that.
And when you go like, he's black, right?
Oh no.
You're like, the writer's black. And
to give you an idea of the timing, we had Milo Yiannopoulos speak at our college the week after Berkeley. Like when that whole Berkeley blow up, he came to our school the very next week. Not that I like the guy. I personally think he was like, I think he was a scam artist, but feel free to disagree.
Yeah. In retrospect, especially that now he's never been gay. No, I've heard of him. I've seen some of his stuff, but I agree with you. He's a bit of a shit stirrer. That was like,
Chris, you got really quiet. Did Sim and I just go down a path that you're?
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about all this stuff. So.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to turn your show into anything other than what you intended.
Oh no! I usually have no intent. It just goes wherever it goes, and I just got to go along for it.
You know, the point is to get to know the guest.
Yeah. So it's interesting stuff to learn about the person through their conversation. Oh, we have D-Wag. Hey, sir. That's right. Hashtag crack pack. Mr. Fist says he was such a square. The most mischief he ever got into was hosting a 64-player Trams 2 LAN party. Nice. Oh, that would have been cool to play. Lucky you, sir. Tribes 2 would have been real fun to play. I remember seeing the ads for it and wanting to play it. I had the prequel to Tribes. What was it called? Star Siege, I think. That was good shit. El Gargoyle says he remembers this article in 06 was touching the rise of social justice, depicted how you shouldn't order black coffee. Well, that's like the other day I was sitting there thinking about it, and I remember all the like in living color skits, and like there was a lot of those from back when that touched upon like the stuff people complain about now. And that was way back when like Jim Carrey was on it.
Well, if I'm being perfectly honest, this book, Noirlum, is in part because if you ever hear the adage of if you want there to be original characters and original stories, make them yourself. Mm-hmm. That was a huge inspiration for this book, because as big of a fan as I am of the detective genre, I just genuinely don't see a lot of black protagonists solving mysteries using their intellect. And I've watched like dozens of shows. And okay, so here's an anecdote. This is how crazy it is. This is how so there's a show on BBC called Death in Paradise, and it's set in the Caribbean. It's set in Jamaica, and the show's been on the air. It's still on. It's been on for like 5 or 6 years. But in the show, every character on the show is black, except for the main detective. And they've had like 3 or 4 now. And they keep having to write stories about how another detective from England comes over and becomes the lead detective. And so I was watching that show. I was like, okay, so nobody is going to put like a black protagonist in the role of the intellectual detective. So I'm just going to make one myself. And I will feel good about the fact that I've at least tried to contribute to the creation of this archetype. So I'm trying. I love black literature, art, philosophy, all that. And I just wanted to make something myself that would kind of add to that archetype of characters.
Let's see, Mr. Fist says, my freshman English class was turned into a feminist and womanist studies class. The teacher told us feminism makes you smarter and forced us through a unit on Alice Walker books.
Okay, so Alice Walker. Okay, so here's an Alice Walker anecdote. Do you remember Jonestown?
Mm-hmm.
Like the death cult?
Yeah.
She spoke to them and gave them like a kind of pep talk, like keep fighting the fight. So
okay.
Alice Walker, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Feminism must not make you too smart. I mean, heck, they're still insisting on stuff like the wage gap and all that stuff that was disproven back in like the 80s.
No, I look at Trudeau, doesn't look that smart.
Elgaro says schools want a ban to kill a mockingbird. Oh, Lord. Hey, you know that thing that should be required reading? Oh, yeah. Let's ban it. Alexander Dumas, author of The Three Musketeers, a black dude. Is he a white supremacist like Larry Elder? Yeah, that Milo Yiannopoulos guy, yeah. I always thought he was just kind of like a troll guy.
Yeah, what was annoying was that it was so obvious that he's a schemer and a scammer. Like, it was so obvious from the very beginning.
Yeah, I never
talking about video games who talks crap about gamers and video games. Like, that should have been a huge red flag.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with him for a long time. But I remember, what was it? Didn't he say something about him not being gay or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know he's not gay anymore.
He went through
Candace
like a
Owens
bunch
is
of
another
financial issues.
Candace Owens burst on the scene with a scam about wanting to, I don't know, police online speech
Mm.
and like start a network to basically censor and control online hate speech. That was like the first anybody had ever heard of her. So for her to like come back and as this weird neocon is just
but like, she didn't she have like a show where because if I remember, she said that she was on one side and then she switched on the other side when she noticed how crazy it was. So
But I mean, if your scam hasn't changed, if you're still just a self-promoting scam artist who has never shown any principle, I have no reason to believe you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep up with
saying he's
any of
here to save the stream.
Oh, good. Good job, Chimera. I'm glad you're here. Oh, there we go. We put the link. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see. Elgarga says, what about Luther? Or nearly every Denzel Washington movie?
Luther, I would say, is a little bit more action-oriented. It is a really, really good show. And yeah, okay, I could see that. I would only argue that Luther's a little bit more action-oriented, and again, it kind of falls in the same vein of Sherlock, where he tends to pull stuff out of his ass sometimes. But yeah, that's fair. And I'm not aware of any Denzel non-action movies, but I'd be very interested to hear about those. Like Man on Fire is like one of my favorite movies ever.
Something
that was good.
Yeah, that bothers me with like Batman. You know, he used to be kind of like the Sherlock Holmes character, and he's really not that anymore. Now he's like super preparedness man, and it's a bunch of action.
And
I miss the whole. I miss the whole like detective aspect of the character.
You used to walk around with a recorder. You know.
Yeah, he used to do detective things.
But that's why he was always ahead of everybody. But now they don't explain it. He just happens to have, it's like that classic Batman thing. It just happens to have a a shark repellent on his belt.
It's bat shark repellent. Chris Fisk says Idris Elba, he'd be great, but Hawk was amazing back in the day. And he says he joined the newsletter.
Thank you. I don't know. Is there a word for that? Like what you were describing about, or I guess is techno creep a thing where technology supplants? I don't know. I don't even know what you would call it. Detective intellect.
Yeah, I mean, like using your I should say, what was it? Like critical thinking and logic and reasoning.
Mnemonic.
Should always be prevalent, no matter what tech level.
Yeah, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and there's definitely you see the techno creep over the years, where there was like the sonic screwdriver, and then it's like over time, it's like you have to start writing reasons why the Doctor can't just use the unbelievable amount of technology at his disposal to just instantly solve the problem. And then trying to like fit that into the story makes the story itself a little bit clumsy.
To me, this whole like using like, oh, he's got this tech thing that allows it just feels like lazy writing. Like,
yeah, especially if it's an ongoing series, because you're basically writing yourself into a corner.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Fisk says Fallen is his favorite Denzel film. Time is on my side. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that was good.
Did I watch Fallen? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I did.
It's it's like a spirit that passes from body to body.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Then I've seen
killer.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ends out in the woods.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was.
Let's see. And then he says studies have shown that the human brain is actually getting dumber as technology improves. Our brains are being optimized for research in lieu of memory retention.
Exactly.
That is way too deep for this time of night.
You can tell Mr. Fisk has had his coffee. He's coming up with big concepts here. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. My brain's still saying, like, why are we awake? Go back to sleep, Chris.
I read something the other day, and it was like something about how everything right now is just being run by an AI feedback loop, and narratives are being generated by the AI that gets fed into the media. And it was like something that, like, by the end of it, it was one of those things where it's like my head hurt, but it also sounded so dystopic that it could possibly be true. And I was just like, just absolutely fried my brain. Narrative feedback loops.
Let's see. Let me bring back up the mailing list. I didn't play the teaser trailer.
Oh yeah, you can hear my horrible voice acting.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's hear number one. No.
Where are we going? Morningside Heights. You want to tell me why? You ever gone out and killed some people before? No. Ever known someone who has? Ever arrested someone like that? Spoken to them for even a moment? No. Yeah, well, neither have I. No idea what would live in that man's head. But if I really try to put myself there, the one thing I know for certain is that the first time I went and did it, it'd be a little bit closer to home than all the others. Well, why would you do that? Well, I wouldn't precisely. But after that first time, I'd be a little braver, go a little further, somewhere less familiar. A pattern is made without even realizing. And that pattern points us back to where it all started, with Mrs. Dorothy Masters of Morningside Heights. Well, say hello to the last moments of one Dorothy Masters.
I don't know what you mean by bad voice acting. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's smooth jazz just keeps playing.
Yeah, just gonna let that play. Set the mood for the street. I should have played that as the intro.
I know. I was thinking too.
Alright. Oh my. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now we just need to get the. Is there going to be a lady show up in the story, like in all the noir movies?
I tried to. I don't really have a love interest. I kind of have. I'm trying to think of what you would even call it. There's a neighbor that lives in the building that shows up from time to time, but I'd say the dynamic is more like it's more closely resembles like Sherlock's landlord in that. Yeah, she just kind of comes along and she ends up triggering the realization moment where he's able to piece everything together. But no romance in this one. This is really more just to kind of set up the dynamic between Coleman and Officer Baldwin, where it's like, I don't want to say like a buddy cop. I mean, it's kind of buddy cop in the sense that it's like, it's not one-sided. You know, they kind of get and they give. This sentence is getting away from me. But anyway, yeah, it's not like where one of them is just kind of schooling the other. I really wanted to kind of put it together that they're better as a team than they are individually, and they both learn something from the dynamic and the relationship. And then, yeah, maybe in book 2 or maybe book 3, get a love interest involved. But no, for this one, it's just, well, now that I'm not saying that out loud, now just a bunch of women getting murdered.
What did I just exit out of? The mailing list. Ah, shit. That's it. Hit the X. All right, go back up here. Gotta find it again. There it is. All right. You know what they call a quarter pounder of fires. This says relating Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. The AI was designed to parse the glute of information turned into info tyrants. And he says, loving the smooth jazz.
I had a boss who tried to explain Metal Gear Solid to me one time, and
oh god,
it reached a point where I was just like, I gotta go, man. Like, I'm sorry, like I can't listen to any more of this.
Yeah, wait, I've been here for like 8 hours.
Yeah,
it's making any sense.
No, man, you got to hear this part. Nah, I'm gonna go. It's You told me the part about how the game read your memory card on the PlayStation. I'm a head out.
Let me bring back the mailing list. There we go. Now, you've been doing, like I said before, you've been doing all these different like genres and kind of thing and everything with all these different books. So none of them will be connected, right? Like none of it'll be the same universe.
So in the first issue of Eudaimonia, there was that little story in the back of the book called the Harlem Hellfighter.
Mm-hmm.
That character I might bring over at some point. Because that was kind of like my first thing of really trying to capture the beauty of like 1920s Harlem. So that is one way that you could tie one book to another. And that's something I might want to come back to because I think it's an interesting character, and I think the way I left it in Eudaimonia left it kind of open-ended to maybe for future use. But no, I don't think there's a shared Eudaimonia comics universe.
How long did it take you to do Eudaimonia? Like come up with it and everything? Because that was some pretty cool writing. I feel like that would take me forever to figure that out.
Yeah, that was a product of just my creative process is basically to read as much as I can, and then if something really grabs me, to try and answer it, if that makes any sense, like kind of do something that's in conversation with that. So I think at the time I was reading Sir Philip Sidney while I was studying the Fantastic Four comics of the 60s or 70s, I don't know. Anyway, and yeah, I just thought, wouldn't it be cool to kind of do what Sir Philip Sidney did, which is to tell a story using verse poems, but try and put it into the form of a comic. And I ended up just, every morning I would wake up like an hour early, go to the coffee shop and just try and write. And I think I was studying World War I poetry at the time, but yeah, I think I knocked that first book out in I felt like a semester basically.
That was a good book.
I always tried to be on campus as early as I could and do a little bit of work when I wasn't working.
Mr. Fisk says, will this be like Metal Heron?
What is that?
Heavy Metal Magazine in French.
Oh.
The original.
Fisk. God damn it.
Je ne sais pas tout le français, mais je parle un peu.
Moi, je viens du Québec, fait que je parle français pas mal fluent.
Ah.
I'm glad Soul wasn't here to hear this.
Yeah, I'm from Montreal, so I'm bilingual.
I'm
not one of those Quebec guys that's like French only.
I live like 3 hours from the border, and I've never been in Canada.
I went to the U.S., but before the borders were closed, we didn't need a passport to go. And I was planning on going back before the lockdown.
Where'd you go?
Before I didn't go too far. I went to hold on. I know I went to Plattsburgh and I went a bit further, but I don't remember. I went to Vermont. I didn't travel that far. It was more like you go with your friends and you just drive. But I was planning on going visiting like a con and before the lockdown. When we were all planning on like having a whole bunch of CG people and meeting in one con.
Hey, 2 weeks.
2 weeks for what?
2 weeks to slow the spread.
Don't get me started.
Like 2 years.
Here they have the vaccine passport now.
Oh, lovely. A fellow New Englander. Not me.
Hey, my sister lives up in Worcester.
Not me. I've always been a West Virginian. I was born here. I'll probably end up dying here, probably.
I had a video on my I have a video on my channel because I do like a little bit of like creative nonfiction every now and then, and it was basically like 3 cities, 3 stories, and it was like 3 stories from 3 different cities that I've been into, and one of them was from the last time I was on the East Coast in Baltimore, or as they pronounce it, Balmer, and it was so crazy. Like we went back there for like Christmas or a couple of years ago, and my dad lives in the area. My dad's from like Annapolis, and he lives in like a normal area. Her dad lives in like the shithole area, and I'm talking like we're going to sleep to the sounds of like gunfire. And I had this weird moment where like I step outside one night just to catch a smoke, and I go to the end of the street, and it's like the top of this hill that's overlooking Balmer Harbor. And on the top of the hill, there is just this playground, and every single piece of equipment on this playground is broken and just rusted and crappy. But if you look over the skyline, like right there on the skyline, there's all of these buildings of like MSRP, MNT, all these financial institutions. And like, I was so struck by what it must be like to live like that, to live in such like a just broken neighborhood, and just to have all of this like just rich splendor, like a mirage that just sits on the skyline, like just taunting you, and it's right there. And you live somewhere where you're going to sleep to the sound of gunfire. And it was just like, I don't know, it was just one of those like deeply profound moments to just be in that place at that time and see all that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I've worked with people who've lived down in Baltimore in like the really bad sections and everything, and they would tell me all kinds of wild stories about like their roommate taking. Like the one guy said his roommate took it was either a knife or a gun out of his place, went down, murdered a guy because of drugs. Like the guy took some of his drugs or something, and so he went down, just brutally murdered the dude, then came back, put the gun away, and went to bed and stuff. And the guy ended up getting his roommate. He said ended up getting like years. Yeah, I think he said he was still in the prison and stuff. And the guy himself talked about like dealing drugs or having to deal with drugs, and he told me all kinds of crazy shit. Like his aunt had married this Jamaican dude, and he was like super crazy. And like we'd talk about killing people if they fucked with him, and he was like, "Yeah, he would. He had killed somebody."
Yeah, what's crazy is I was born in Philly, so like it's not like I'm a stranger to it. But now apparently Philly is worse than Baltimore.
Oh wow!
Like just in the last few years.
Everywhere's becoming worse.
Yeah, we just had a
hail the chat.
Just had a guy not far from here, I think, brutally murder a woman with a machete. I think he took her head off even, and it was because she was gonna snitch on him. It's like, Jesus. I'm sure whatever she was a snitch on was much less of a charge than brutally murdering someone. Damn.
Well, okay, so this is my favorite West Coast story because I lived in Eugene. Okay, so I'm coming home one night, and by the way, this story is nowhere near as bad as beheading somebody with a machete. So I'm coming home one night, and I walked down an alley, and I just caught like the most amazing thing in the most amazing moment. There's a woman there, and she's just she's wearing like sweats, and it looks really dingy, and she's kind of like slumped over, like just standing up, like just kind of half slumped over. Mm-hmm. And then right in front of her, there's a police officer who's like, I could see he's visibly trying to be like, "Ma'am, are you okay, ma'am?" You know, like checking on her. Mm-hmm. And in an instant, she looks up and she just freaks out and just jumps like 5 feet backwards. Now, this officer obviously thought that she was a junked out junkie, right? But what had actually happened is that this alley is right next to a yoga place. And she was just doing her stretches before going in to do yoga and was wearing a headphones, and couldn't hear him. But the police officer's like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And she's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" It was like it was like one of those moments. It was like it was scripted for me to turn the corner and see that. It was so incredible.
Wow. Mr. Fix says CCP bioweapons really effed us all over. I wanted to travel the world, not anymore. There's still hope. Just might be a while before you get to.
I'm waiting for pirates to come back, like people who just had enough and just put together a ship and a crew and do what they want. I won't do that, but if somebody else does, that'd be great.
True freedom, people.
Mm-hmm. We all run our campaigns, put all the money aside, we buy a big island.
CG Island. Yep. Wait, no, that sounds terrible.
But you get the idea.
CG Island. Nothing like Epstein Island.
It's not that other island. Hey, Tank's here. He says, "Can't get enough of that sugar, Chris. He's got the money, don't quit." Hope you're doing well, Tank. He says, "Philly, I love those sandwiches." Where's our good sandwiches? Snitches get machete? That doesn't rhyme. And he says, she was going to yoga fire that dude. Let's see. Yeah, there hasn't been, I'm trying to think, some crazy shit I've seen recently. Not too much recently. It's actually been quiet since work started closing at night. Used to get all kinds of crazy shit go on at nighttime.
Where do you work? What do you do?
I just work grocery store at nighttime. But we closed now at like 10 p.m. We used to be open all the time, so we'd get like the junkies and the drunk people and everything else would come in and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, you're essential. So where's your Chris Funko Pop doll?
No, I don't get one. Yeah, well, it's only certain essentials that get cool things. We get ignored.
Well, what's so funny about that is that if anybody has ever known someone who became a nurse, like I don't want to use the R word, but
But Tank's goal is to have everyone saying the Sugar Crisp song. There we go.
Can't get enough of that sugar crisp.
Oh, hey Doris, I just seen you tweeted out the show on Twitter. Thank you. She says it's like everyone I followed decided to go live at the same time. I seen who was it? I seen right before I started. I think it might have been right before I started the show. I seen somebody on Twitter was like tonight at 9. I was like, oh dang it. I was like, gosh dang it. I hope I'm not. I'm streaming right at the same time.
So I was going to start doing a show soon. So that's my question: is what is the deadest time that no one else is streaming?
Dude, that doesn't matter because as soon as you're gonna pick that dead time, you're gonna start streaming. Other people are gonna stream.
All right.
There's no point. Just do the best for you, and maybe like if you know your demographic type of thing. If you know if they're mostly on the UK or something. Get my drift.
Thursday at 4 a.m.
Sofa
Hey, dude, I work a lot till like 3, 5 in the morning, and there's people streaming.
When Tank says he's got the files for the giveaway from QC and I need to go over them, then I can get them to you. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had oh. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, sir. I'm glad you said that, Tank. I had actually had Amanda B asking about that for the giveaway stuff. She asked me, was it she asked me or did I reach out to her and ask if she got them?
Yeah, I have to mail the cards for Crystal. Forgot I got sick and I forgot after.
Yeah, so I actually I told her to reach out to you, Tank, about it because I hadn't received anything from you. So that's good to hear. Oh, okay, good. She got a hold of him. Excellent, excellent. But yeah, I really liked your previous work. Like I said, I have not read How to Die yet. The funny part was I actually have no idea what this is actually about. How to Die. I just went, oh, eudaimonia, God. And backed it. I was like, if this is as good as this first one.
You know, it's funny. I've been writing the second one lately, and I was on a stream with Kimasabi, and we were talking about something that really changed the way I'm writing this because, and ever since he said it, it's been something that's been on my mind. When people write darkness for the sake of darkness, you know what I mean? Like they just go to like really dark places, and it never really feels like there was a point to it. So like some kind of like forced edginess or something. And so I've been kind of stuck for the past week because I had this kind of general idea about where I wanted How to Die #2 to go. And yeah, I'm kind of rethinking like everything about this book. So How to Die 2 is in the works, but I'm trying to put a lot more thought and care in it in trying to deliver a better book than the first one. So what I'm saying is if you read How to Die #1 and you just think it's okay, I do intend on making this story work and making it a lot better than the first one. I'm not saying I hate the book. I'm just saying I want to go back to the drawing board on that story.
Tank's saying this book looks boss. He says, I'm really digging the vibe.
So that picture right there is what's called a rent party. And if anybody happens to not know what that is, basically to try and raise the rent, people would have parties in their apartment and bring in some bands and some live music, and the hostess would cook up some good food and everybody would dance. So yeah, Harlem Rent Party.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that. Didn't think there can't be a lot of room to move around in that.
Well, that's why you gotta hold your partner close.
Oh, man. Fist says he's adding a special big boy art card for backers, waiting on the artwork from an amazing artist he contacted on Twitter. It'll be in service of the fans.
Nice.
Oh, awesome. Let's see. Now that's Americana. Yeah, I feel like I will learn something from this book. I already did. I learned about the rent parties.
Well, I'll give you a preview. Here's what you can learn. Frozen peas were first introduced in 1929 because somebody gets punched and they have to, put something on their eye to keep the swelling down.
Mm-hmm.
And, the book is honestly set in 1929, so it would make sense why somebody has a pack of frozen peas. So that's your useless fact of the day.
Awesome. Tank says he loves historic stuff. I do as well. Let's see. Yeah, darkness requires some gravitas and believable experience to draw from. Otherwise, it does come off as edgelord.
Edgelord, yes. Tank, if you don't have a copy of Eudaimonia, hit me up so I can send you a digital copy.
And Doris says she ordered both. And she says, hello, darling. Doris has what is it, like a poetry book, don't you, Doris?
Le Premier Tome?
Yeah, I think. Pretty sure. Because I'm pretty sure she raised funds for it.
Le or la ou la? Le Premier.
Ça s'appelle Le Premier Tome.
Maybe we could have Doris on sometime, talk about her book. Stop. My nipples can only get so hard. Creamy and full-bodied, luscious and soft to the touch. Dessert looks good too. Noirlum. Oh my.
Yeah, I was on a stream with her, and that was my haiku.
Frozen peas. That was a punishment as a kid. Kneel down on bags of frozen peas when you waited for Dad to come home and make you choose the switch. Yeah, I never had to do the frozen peas, but yeah, I had to choose a switch before. Usually it wasn't good enough, and then he went and got one that was sufficiently bad.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'd get really mad because my dad would hit me with a Nintendo Switch and break it.
Oh, wow.
Grandma, no, not the Switch.
Tank says I had to kneel on frozen peas when I took Shotokan Karate. Well, now you're just bragging, Tank. I took my fancy martial arts.
Don't be so jealous.
Only martial arts I have is gun.
Shotgun Samurai?
Yeah. We haven't had that fella on yet either. The Shotgun Samurai gun. Let's see. This says the Board of Education applied to the seat of learning. Nice.
Live lobster dancing nightly.
Do you know how much you're gonna be selling Noirlum for?
25.
No, for 90 pages, that ain't bad. Will there be stretch goals and such?
I'm kind of a bare bones, no nonsense kind of person. I like to have what I'm going to have, and you're going to get what you're going to get. Or I shouldn't say that because I did have the stickers and everything. I would say check back with me later. What I do know I'm going to have is it's going to be 25 pages or 90 pages, $25. It's going to be a 2-pack for a buddy, 10-pack for retail. There's going to be the one that includes the Zippo, but if you're on the mailing list, that's going to be free, so you don't have to worry about that. And then there's going to be a couple bundles in there for if you want to grab How to Die #1, There's going to be the complete Eudaimonia comics catalog that has Eudaimonia in it. I think I'm getting down to like the last stock of that, so it's probably only going to be like 5 bundles. I'm thinking about doing a hardcover, like a. You just said the thing. What is it? Stretch goal, like a hardcover stretch goal. But I'm not 100% sold on that yet. Simply because, like, I'm just not as big a fan of hardcovers. But I might, might test the waters and see what people think about that. Because I shouldn't let my personal preference, muddy the water.
On that, fans.
Yeah, Tank says he loves when folks can get the whole shebang. Oh yeah, because you never know when someone new's coming in. So you want them to be able to catch up.
But it's not just that. There's also some people said it themselves, like from International on new creator. They like to wait for like second or third campaign sometimes, that they like to grab those bundles of previous projects.
Yeah, I had to have that explained to me. Like, I think I was on with Wise Guys, and he said something about I had never put any thought into the idea that international buyers, might want to like kind of go in together. So having like a 2-pack, I had never thought of that before.
Yeah,
until Wise Guys said that. And I have been doing it wrong the whole time.
That's what Beacon used to do. Like for the International, you put 2 books.
Yeah. I'm not that smart. I sound like I'm trying to sound smart, but I ain't smart.
Let's see. What's your plans for the future?
Oh, I have too many. I have that Gangsters versus Cowboys, How to Die #2, Noirlum #2, Eudaimonia #3, a Christmas comedy book at some point. Like, I kind of want to get together with somebody who's good at doing like funny art, if that makes any sense. Like somebody who's just good at that kind of lighthearted dynamic, which I think is something that you can definitely kind of glean from the page. Because I had a really funny idea for a funny book, and I can't really, like, if I say it, it's like a 1-sentence pitch. Everybody's going to know exactly what it is, but it's something so simple that nobody's ever done before. So I got like ideas and projects for forever. I will probably die with unmade books.
But so how long do you want these, like Eudaimonia and Noirlum and stuff? Like how many issues or volumes do you think you're going to go for?
I think How to Die is going to be 4. Eudaimonia is wrapped up at 3. Noirlum is kind of an ongoing thing, so I can just keep writing those. And I think the Cowboys Gangsters one is going to be kind of a pretty long one-shot. I think that's the story I kind of had mapped out in my head is enough for about a one-shot.
Yeah, Tank. You might be interested in that one, Tank. I know I am. That's going to be a fun one. Cowboys taking on gangsters. Yeah. That'd be cool.
And then I'll sell the rights to Wesley Snipes. That was my other idea that never worked out as a comic. Well, because it would be a copyright infringement. Is a comic book universe in which every incarnation of a Wesley Snipes character comes to be, and it's kind of like Jet Li's The One. They all have to fight each other. So you would have like Simon Phoenix and Willie Mays Hayes, and they would just all like just pop out of the sky one day, and they would all have to like fight each other.
Was it called the Tax Evaders?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been cool.
No, it would just cut away to a shot of Wesley Snipes in a jail cell, like the actual Wesley Snipes.
I like that when the first movie he did when he came out of jail was The Expendables.
Yeah.
Remember the first thing is that, why were you in for? Tax evasion. No, like he takes a. I thought that was so meta. It was funny as hell.
I would say that Wesley Snipes is the greatest actor of this generation, or my generation.
Yeah, but he's certainly not the first Marvel black character to make a box office in theater. Never did that before Black Panther.
It's only Black Panther.
Yeah, it's only Black Panther. I was being sarcastic.
I thought it was Black Dynamite.
Would it be a superhero? Was it a big blockbuster? Oh. That's why I said Marvel. But yeah.
Well, no, but the guy who played Black Dynamite played Spawn.
Michael J. White.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael J. White's cool.
Yeah, he is. Movies. But he fell off the face of the earth.
No, like 10 years. He's doing small.
Yeah, he does those like small action movies and stuff.
He was in The Dark Knight.
He was doing like the thing with Boyka in the beginning. He does like blood and bones. Like he does little movies.
Yeah. Yeah, like he should have been a bigger thing.
Yep.
Like I loved him in Spawn. I've loved his action movies. Like I think he does action scenes really well.
He was also on that Metal Hurlant Chronicles series. It was a heavy metal series. There's 2 seasons.
Dynamite.
And I know it's a French title, but it's in English. It's called Metal Hurlant Chronicles. It's on Amazon Prime.
I will look for that.
Let's see. Fist says he loves Snipes and Demolition Man. Yeah, Demolition Man was a classic.
Simon says die.
I didn't really like it, but I thought he carried it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was wild. He had that kind of Joker-esque character, I guess.
Or like it was weird. It was like it was a good movie, but I don't like Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like Dennis Leary.
I like him.
I don't like Rob Schneider.
It depends on movies. He's not very likable most of the fucking time.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Bullock.
But me neither. But I do like Dennis Leary because I used to like his stand-up comic.
And I don't feel strongly about Leary one way or the other.
Sandra Bullock is in, like, let's say the movie that makes me the angriest overall. It's a movie called The Blind Side, and it's the story of, I know I'm talking about sports again. Okay, so it's a story about a guy goes out and there's this homeless black kid that and he brings him home and comes to live with him, and he ends up being an NFL player. But like in the actual story, the father is the one who found him and brought him home, and da-da-da-da-da. Then Disney gets their hands on it, and they basically change the story into the wife is the one who did it. And so like, oh, and also she like teaches him how to play football.
Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. So number one, imagine you're a homeless kid and you become an NFL player. And then imagine that you're the husband, like the real life version, who does something that's so kind and generous that people want to make a movie about it. And Disney is just like, nope, it was all Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, it was just someone else completely.
Give her all of the credit for both of those things. And she won an Academy Award for it. Like, it makes my blood boil thinking about it.
Just thinking of Hollywood does that at this point.
It just pisses me off because they're real people who did those real things.
Yep.
And you were like, your story, we need a girl boss story.
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate
Well, oh man, I hope that those people weren't like still alive when this movie came out.
No, it is because the player was actually still in the NFL at the time. So,
oh my god,
it was a very recent story that they just took a huge dump all over it.
Wow.
He didn't complain. Did he complain or something?
I mean, you got paid all this money. I don't know. I didn't follow up with it. It was a book beforehand, and the book actually did it properly, and didn't try to make it seem like 105-pound Sandra Bullock taught a 300-pound guy how to play football.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, because I mean, there's really no point in changing it like that. Like, the original story is a good, heartfelt story. That's dumb.
Oh God, there's even a scene where she's like telling the football coach how football works. Yeah, it's bad. And the football coach is like a Hall of Fame college football coach, and she's like, "No, this is how football works." And he's like, "Whoa!"
I never realized it. Wow.
Yeah, the guy who went on to coach the Atlanta Falcons needed Sandra Bullock to explain how football works to him. I'm sorry, guys. I pulled this show in like a really oddly specific direction.
Yeah, they go everywhere. It's all good.
Yep.
Pink washing. Okay. Pink washing is what Tank calls washing the dog's junk. Okay.
Red Rocket.
Oh my. Oh Lord. Oh, Jesus. I'm washing the dog's junk. I gotta get back on track here. Get away from whatever it is Tank's going on about.
I don't know.
Oh Lord. I see people on my Twitter's posting something about that new James Bond movie.
Did you
I'm
see
not
that?
interested.
Did you see that Daniel Craig? They're giving him shit because he said that James Bond should never be a woman.
Well, I mean, why would she be? Or yeah, why would it be a woman?
Well, you ain't wrong. But like we just said, they did that to a real life story. So.
Yeah, it is what it is. I never kept up with James Bond all that much, or Doctor Who. I know a lot of people that love Doctor Who. I watched a few episodes. It didn't really super interest me.
I watched from Eccleston all the way to Smith, I think it was.
Oh wow, you got out just in time.
And I started I saw the first episode of the other one, and I went no, I'm done. Bye. Like the show is not even about Doctor Who.
You literally stopped when it started to go downhill.
It
a lot
started
of people
becoming about Sarah, and I'm like, no, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, like when a lot of people were complaining about the new Doctor, it was like, y'all are late. Like it's been real bad for a while now.
Yeah, it was all about Sarah. Doctor Who was just a fucking idiot, technically. I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, I never. That was one thing I've seen when people started complaining about the stuff in the comics. Past like how many ever years ago, I was like, in my head, I was like, well, shit, this sort of thing's been happening for a while. It felt like for a while to me. Like it just wasn't in like the big name books, I guess.
It's not just that. It's before it used to be like, dude, it's like it should be. Every book should have a chance. Like you could do your own story if it's a whatever, but you don't change a character. That used to be. They used to do stuff like that, but not like they're doing it right now. You know what I mean? Like you had gay characters, you had this, you had those type of weird stories, you had those more for girls titles, you had mature, you had this, but they're just trying to make everything the same. And I think that's why it sticks out more. Because
Doris.
now it's not just like oh, we'll try something different. No, it's everything has to be the same and change everything that's already been there.
Doris says she's looking forward to this one. Noalam.
Thank you, Doris.
Let's see. Mr. Fisk says he's been a Doctor Who fan since John Pertwee. He says he grew up in that show. He started getting annoyed with Matt Smith's Doctor Who and never bothered with Capaldi or Femdoc.
Yeah, Capaldi was like where I stopped.
Capaldi's got some bangers, but they're few and far between. And yeah, Matt Smith is pretty annoying. It's what's it called? A Flanderization.
But technically, like, if they would have kept with the feel that it was giving, it was like he was the child, like he was the youngest, and it was working. But after that, like, it's like Capaldi was an idiot.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. Like if they would have made him like like he's young now, that it was working. It was a bit more innocent than the one that we knew before. But when something happened, like it's like he would remember.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked.
Well,
we didn't get the conclusion that it should have been, or we didn't get the Doctor at the end.
What I mean by Flanderization is the character of the Doctor is that he knows he's not autistic, right? Like he knows like social cues and things like that. And they actually started to write him like he was just completely oblivious to things like why people wear clothes or why they get upset when people die. And it's like the Doctor has been on Earth more than anybody who has ever been on the planet. So he should have more awareness of this, not less awareness of it. But the character is that he just doesn't care as much as other people do. But they started writing him like he just completely oblivious to everything, all of this stuff. And it just got worse over time. By the time Capaldi came in, it was like they had to have Clara explaining to him things like grief. And it was just like, no, this is not the character.
Like they turn into the mom. Like, you can't do nothing without the guidance of And you're like, what? I'm sorry, Doctor Who was like the guy, like he's
mommy companion.
Like, from people that don't know Doctor Who but know manga, he's a bit like Trigon. So he's the badass motherfucker that could end anything. Like any situation, he could just like pretty much power level everybody. But he doesn't want to. He'd rather run than fight. That's the entire gimmick of Doctor Who. Is that he'd rather run and try and find a solution that people don't get hurt. But you have those moments where he just turns cold as fuck. And Tennant played it fucking well. I don't know if you remember that episode. Oh, when he gets really fucking pissed.
Tennant, I think, is he's a little inconsistent for me. I like even-keeled Tennant, but I was never a fan of like, I'm acting David Tennant. Like he would just I think he probably has the best stories, but his acting is kind of all over the place.
I mean, he's my favorite.
I think Eccleston is probably my favorite.
Eccleston was great too. But I prefer Tennant.
Pertwee was really good too. Ooh, so was Troughton. Okay, you know what? I wasn't built for this.
Everybody's going to be watching Doctor Who soon.
Oh, there was even a U.S. movie about it. And that Doctor actually counts.
And the Master was played by... Damn, how did I forget his name? Eric Roberts.
Yep.
And if you ever want to have a laugh, go on IMDb and look up Eric Roberts, because you'll see that he probably has more acting credits than anybody on the planet right now. He'll do anything. Like if you send him a script and a half a box of Mike and Ike's, he'll show up. He'll be there.
Yeah, I know he's been everywhere.
He did a movie called A Talking Cat, and he's the voice of the cat. and it looks like one of the worst movies, like legitimately one of the worst movies ever made. Like if you watch the trailer for that movie, your skin will fall off. That's how terrible it is. And Eric Roberts was just like, I'm in. Yeah, sure. What?
I'll do it.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
Yeah, I think. I'm trying to think. I watched some of the early Doctor Who, like the very early stuff from back in the day. I watched some of that, and I remember I watched a Rowan Atkinson one. It was like one of the specials or something. And he was a
the
doctor.
comedy special. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that was kind of nice. I like that.
The curse of the fatal death.
I was like, hey, Rowan Atkinson, I'll watch that.
I don't think his Doctor is canon.
Oh.
The movie one?
No, the Rowan Atkinson.
Which one was that one?
Let's see.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Let's see. How long is it?
I forgot. I forgot that was Dr. Bean. Mr. Bean. It's like
Eric Roberts. Pop it, Tommy. Best of the best. Said one of the most undervalued actors back in the day. I'm assuming she means that Eric Roberts person. But all right, it's been an hour and a half, so I think it's time to start wrapping her up.
So don't forget to sub, like, and share.
That's right.
Oh, Eric Roberts was also in The Dark Knight. That's the second time we've mentioned somebody who was in The Dark Knight.
Based on what you guys are saying, there isn't much he hasn't been in.
No, not much.
But thanks everybody that was in the chat.
Show something before we leave.
Gosh dang it, Sim.
What? I've been working on this. Look at those colors.
Every time I start to wrap it up, you need to share something.
Wait till we close.
Wow.
So I'm coloring this first page for Demona. This is the Demon King, and as you can see, he's not that happy. And flatting down, and that's where Demona comes in. Yeah, that's what I was showing. That's it.
I like how on that one page, the blue and the orange, because those are, correct me if I'm wrong, those are contrasting colors?
Mm-hmm. Complementary and contrast.
Complementary.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, look at that. Creator's Outlet shows up right at the end. This is your bedtime anyway, sir. Mr. Fist says, hell yeah, don't forget Rocket. Back it.
Yep.
We'll have to get Mr. Dye on sometime.
Yeah, send him a message. I'm sure he'll be happy to drop by.
All right. So thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks everybody in the chat for joining us. Thanks JP for being our guest. I'm glad we could finally set one up and make it happen.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Laters all.
Later.